listening to Her Profit Era, the podcast for founders who want a business that actually works. A business that's profitable, predictable, and pays them well. I'm Cindy Kumar, a CPA, a fractional CFO from Abbotsford, BC, Canada. I'm the person founders call when they're tired of high revenue months with no money left over. I started this podcast because too many founders were chasing sales while their margins, cash flow, and bank accounts told a completely different story. I believe profit and money in the bank is a standard, not a bonus, and that every founder deserves clarity around their numbers. Each week, you'll get real financial strategy you can actually use and honest conversations with founders and industry experts about what it really takes to build a business that lasts. All right, today we're talking about what I call my Adam Sandler era. And before you picture me showing up to client meetings or investor meetings in basketball shorts, let me explain. This episode isn't about clothes. It's really about your identity, your confidence, and about finally letting go of who you think you're supposed to be so you can actually become who you're meant to be. If you know anything about Adam Sandler, you know he shows up everywhere in oversized shorts, hoodies, sweatpants, zero glam, and he's still one of the most respected, successful people in the room. Why? Because he doesn't use aesthetics to prove his worth. My Adam Sandler era is the season where I stopped dressing for the internet and started dressing for my life. It's the era where my value stopped coming from how I looked and started coming from how I think. Before this era, I spent 9 years in public accounting and firm life. 9 years of dressing up every single day. Blazers, dress pants, boots, flats, sitting in an office so cold it felt like we were storing produce. If you've never worked in accounting or in a corporate space, let me paint the picture. Every woman in the office was freezing. I remember people would bring blankets draped over their laps. I wore lots of layers over blouses, over tank tops. I even kept a portable heater under my desk because I would feel so cold. I wouldn't even be able to type. And here's the wildest part. I didn't even have in-person client meetings. Nobody was seeing me. I wasn't meeting anyone. I was getting fully dressed up, sitting in a freezing office or cubicle by myself because it was policy. We were performing professionalism for an empty boardroom, not for clients, not for value, just for the illusion of what an accountant is supposed to look like. I looked successful, but didn't feel powerful at all. So when I left the firm and started my business from home, I still carried that performance with me. Same aesthetic, same pressure, same belief that if I didn't look polished, people weren't going to take me seriously as a CPA. But the deeper I got into real entrepreneurship, actual founders, operators, builders, the more I realized how fake that pressure actually was. Founders who scale real companies don't care what you wear. They care about how you think, how you solve problems, how you operate, how you lead. And then this year, I want to say in September is when things really cracked open and I had all my aha moments. After speaking at Rich Girl New York in August, I came home feeling disconnected and lost. I didn't know who I was, what my identity was, or how I needed to show up. I was so misaligned. I called myself a profit coach. I shrunk myself to fit in rooms I was never meant to fit in. And then I got into a room with the Hermoses in Vegas with real financial experts, real operators, and real advisors. And it really just woke me up. My power is in my brain, not in how much makeup I wear, not what I'm wearing, not the aesthetic. Once I stopped performing, everything started unlocking. I gave myself space to reconnect with what I've always loved. Real founders building real companies that need support with their finances. People who have been in it for years. People who care about margins, payroll, runway, scalability, forecasting. Ones that aren't following sales trends. That same week, my meeting with Katrina, she was helping me with my PR strategy, really asked me questions that dug deep into my big picture vision. And 2 days later, I saw a post about the Dragon's Den 20th anniversary event in Calgary. Talk about alignment. So I interviewed founders while I was in Calgary, and something lit up inside of me. I started tagging CVC Dragons, founders, producers, and people started responding to me. I heard back from Krista from DVL Designs to do a podcast episode together. She said yes. Jamie from Black Harbor Distillers, she said yes. I spoke to Amanda from Parched Laurels. She said yes. I emailed Nishal from No Days Wasted this week. He said yes. Dragon's Den producer replied, we got on a call. She's also from Abbotsford. I just kept emailing people, DMing people. I DM'd the founder of Saks. He actually replied to me. Through him, I found the LOI founder community, more opportunities, more alignment. A district manager at ADP who played in the NFL reached out. He went to Cincinnati. He knows Travis and Jason Kelsey. And now none of this would happen if I was just performing and trying to be someone I'm not. It happened when I felt most aligned, when I felt comfortable just being in sweats. And even recording this podcast, I record it in my comfy clothes. I don't do my hair and makeup. I just straighten my hair and I am talking. It honestly felt like I was finally in line with what I'm supposed to do. I feel like the last 3 years, I've just been trying to figure it out. But I just feel like now I finally understand things. It feels like I finally came home to myself. It feels like I'm not needing approval. I'm not trying to follow what other people are doing and calling it success. It feels like showing up with my brain, my personality, not just aesthetic branding or trying to get people's approval. I don't need glam to talk about margins. I don't need a curated aesthetic to audit your expenses. I don't need corporation style kind of framework in my business to understand runway, payroll, return on investment, break even. I'm not the branding version of business. I'm the operator version. It took me a really long time to get to this point and to be aligned with this version of me. And the funny thing is, the people I admire the most, they're already in their Adam Sandler era. Mark Cuban shows up in jeans and a t-shirt. No flash, no aesthetic, just straight operator energy. Alex Hormozi built a $100 million empire wearing a beater and shorts. He's not wasting time on outfits. He's focused on ROI and actually building something real. These are billionaires, operators, founders who think at a completely different level. None of them are performing for the camera or for social media. None of them are dressing up for strangers on the internet, trying to prove themselves. They dress for clarity, not optics. They're dressed up for performance, not perception. And I realized that's who I've always resonated with. not the hyper branded online aesthetic, not the curated Pinterest version of business. I respect the people who build, not the people who perform. And just reflecting back on this as well, with my dad being an entrepreneur in the real estate industry, he would always just show up casually in jeans. Anytime we would go somewhere, like he would be dressed down. He didn't really care what he'd be wearing or take the time to like get ready. He would be like, people respect me for who I am and it doesn't matter what I'm wearing. And just reflecting on all of that, I didn't really understand it back then, but now it totally makes sense. You're not going to respect someone wearing a Rolex but has nothing to show for their work. So if you're listening to this and you feel like you've been performing, this is your permission to stop. Stop dressing for social media, for the highlight reels. Stop shrinking yourself into trends, trying to be something you're not. Stop trying to look like a business owner and start being one by looking at your finances. Make confident business decisions. Your confidence doesn't come from contour. Your confidence comes from clarity. Your power isn't in how you look, it's in how you think. So the era of performing is over. Welcome to your Adam Sandler era. If you're a founder who wants real strategy, not noise, and you want someone in your corner helping you build a business that feels aligned, is profitable, and actually supports your life, you can apply for CFO on Call. This is my one-on-one financial partnership for established founders, typically making between $500K to $2 million, who want clarity, who want structure and confidence with their numbers. The link is in the show notes so you can schedule a profit strategy call, or you can DM me CFO on Instagram at @CindyKumar and I'll send over all the details.